If I drop this damn cigarette one more fucking time, I'm gonna... Hello, everybody. It's been a minute. I wanted to post a video last week, but I just didn't. You know, life's gotten in the way. It's been a terrible month, but it's also been an even worse week, so we're gonna talk about it. So, right now, it's currently 1:44 in the morning. I'm at work. What's today's date? I don't even know. Today's the 13th, okay? So this week started out pretty okay. And then as the days progressed, it just got worse. A couple days ago, I believe on the 9th, is when I found out about that girl on the train that got stabbed to death. And I finally watched the video because my mom was telling me about it, and I was just like in complete shock, you know? I just don't know like where human decency is went, where you witness somebody get assaulted and you just sit there and don't do anything. And then when blood's pooling all over the place, you still don't do anything, you know? That could never be me, you know, just sit there and watch something like that happen and not even ask the person if they're okay, you know? I can understand if you're not like a first responder and you don't know how to respond to those situations, but to not even ask somebody if they're okay just blows my mind. How it took so long for somebody to come and try to help this person, right? So I found out about that. My mom was telling me. And then the next day was the 10th. And I was in Walgreens. One of the doctors I work with, God bless him, the love of my life. If only I was a few years older, I'd date him. I mean, I'd marry him now. I asked. He said yeah, so I'm just waiting on the ring. I mean, I have the ring, but I'm just waiting on him, you know? But I was in Walgreens printing off pictures for a retirement party. And my phone's blowing up. I'm like, who's blowing me up right now? Like, I'm almost home. I'm thinking something's wrong, right? With somebody in my family. I look at my phone, and they were like, I had a ton of messages. They were like, they just shot Charlie. I was like, who's Charlie? Like, I don't think I have any Charlies that are, like, close to me, you know? And they were like, Charlie Kirk. I was like, what? No way. That's impossible. How? When? Where? Why? You know? So I got my pictures. I'm in disbelief at this moment. I'm like, this is a joke. There's no way, right? I go in the car. I'm sitting in the car, and I'm on Facebook at this point. I have a Facebook, I'm not gonna say. It's my personal Facebook. And I see people saying that he got shot. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna go on Twitter because Twitter's usually on things pretty quick. And I saw he was trending, clicked on his name, and I saw the video, and Now, no, if you haven't seen the video, I don't think you might. Let me get through my reaction and then we'll get into that. But the first video I saw was one from a distance, and I was like, well, I mean, you can't really see anything. Sure, you hear the gun and everything and you see him react, but like, there's no way, like, it's that bad, you know? So I scrolled a little bit more and I saw the close-up video. The next video I saw was the one up close where you could see everything. And I'm sitting in the car and I'm watching it, and you just see the bullet hit him, and I'm like, oh my God. And then the blood spraying. And I work in surgery, right? For those of you all look at me, I work in surgery, right? And I've done vascular cases, right? And heart cases. And I've seen blood shoot across the room, right? right out of somebody, just pew, firing away. And I've seen videos. I grew up in the time where like best score was a thing. You know, you would go on there and watch your daily beheading video, right? And I remember watching those, but the video of him getting shot, the up close video, I was shaking. I was weak. I was like, oh my God, I can't, oh my God. That's all I could say for the rest of the day was, oh my God. I've never had something like that bother me so much, right? Because like I said, I like gore, right? There's nothing in the world that I haven't seen, you know, or that would bother me. But for some reason, that just bothered me so much. I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm grabbing at myself to this. I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it because it just bothered me so bad. And I was like a little kid again. I was like, I've never seen something like this before in my life, you know? And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't handle it, you know? I had to drive home. I'm feeling, you know how like when you feel like you're gonna like pass out, you get like queasy and whatnot? Not queasy, but you feel like this is how I felt, okay? You know, like, oh my God, that's how I felt. Like a fucking kid. But, and I rushed home after seeing that. I was like, Mom, is he dead? Like, he has to be dead. Like, I mean, I've seen people survive, you know, us putting a hole in an artery and like closing that off real quick, you know. I was like, I don't think he's gonna make that. And me and my mom was sitting in the living room watching the reports as they came in, and then they said that he passed, and it was just like, oh my God. It was like the biggest shock ever, and we were talking, and I was like, can you believe that we've gotten to this point? Sorry, my hand popped in there. But like, we've gotten to the point in life where we can't even talk to each other without somebody wanting to kill you, you know? You can't say what you want to say without somebody of a differentiating opinion wanting to gun you down, literally, in front of your wife and kids. I just learned yesterday that his wife and 2 kids were there. And I was talking to my coworker, and she's like, oh my God, I had no idea that they were there. And it's just like, oh my God. I can't even imagine being in his wife's shoes, not even at just that moment, but in general. Like, the amount of heartbreak that would probably kill most people. You know, you just saw your loved one get his neck blown out in front of your children. But it's been racking my brain, you know? I think way too much on this channel. Some things are crazy, some things aren't, you know, some things are relatable. But it's just been racking my brain for the past, how many days has it been? Today's the 13th, so 3 days. Like, how can some stranger get so mad at somebody for their opinions that they kill them? It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, what bothers somebody to that point, you know? Like, life is all about not everybody getting along. No 2 people are the same. Nobody thinks the same, right? Sure, we may share ideas and beliefs, but we don't think the same, you know? I just can't imagine somebody getting me, a stranger at that. Now, I can handle things pretty well, right? Like, I'm cool as a cucumber, stoic. What the fuck was that? probably a monster. If you find this, I'm dead. Right? But I just couldn't imagine myself letting a stranger get so under my skin that I fucking shoot them. It just doesn't make sense. This is only halfway through my week of bad, right? But I've been seeing people talking a lot, right? Every time something bad happens in the world, people like to say, oh, but they're mentally ill. They're not right in the head. You're right, they're not right in the head. But at what point do we stop calling it mental illness and just start calling it what it is, and it's just evil, you know? People aren't mentally ill. They're just bad people, you know? And I really believe that we're saying somebody's mentally ill is almost like giving them a crutch instead of they fucked up. Big fuck up, right? And that they're just a really bad person who just wanted to see some kind of carnage, you know? I don't necessarily think that's mentally ill. Sure, some people are mentally ill, right? But at the same time, some people are just bad people, you know? Not everything's a mental illness. Now, I wouldn't say I'm a die-hard Charlie Kirk fan, you know? I enjoyed his videos. I watch a lot of shorts, and every time he would pop up on a short, I'd watch it. And, you know, I wouldn't agree with everything he said. Like, I'm not that big of a religious person, you know? I can see where he comes from, sure. I can see where anybody comes from when they're arguing something. But I don't necessarily agree with everything that he said. But I've never let anything anybody says that's their belief affect me in my life to that point. And I'm just like thinking for the past 3 days, I'm like, how on earth could somebody get to that point, you know? And why wasn't like anybody aware that that person was up on the building? Or why wasn't there security and more security when a man gets death threats every day, basically? And if you're not a big fan of him, you know, that's fine. You don't have to be. Like I said, I'm not even that big of a fan of him. I don't hate him. I like some of the stuff he does. I enjoy his videos. I don't really feel love or hate towards him. I agree with some things, I disagree with others, you know? But if you watch the video and the people that are celebrating that, like if that video affected me the way it did, somebody who's used to it, you know? I can't imagine how a lot of other people were affected by it, you know? And the fact that people are celebrating it, I've seen people make t-shirts about it, and it's like, how sick are we, you know? I mean, you can make your little edgy jokes. I don't even get that mad about that. Sometimes I might giggle a little bit, but past a certain point, it's a bit too much, you know? And I've found myself putting myself into his wife's shoes, and I'm just like, wow. I couldn't imagine watching somebody I love get shot in general. It doesn't matter where, you know? But to have them die, it's just terrible. Terrible, terrible thing. Like I said, I'm not much of a religious person, but my thoughts have definitely been going towards that family for the past 3 days. Honestly, nobody can even imagine what that's like. And I feel really bad, you know? I feel really bad for them. So when did that happen? That was on the 10th. Wednesday. Right? Was it Wednesday? Thursday. It had to have been Thursday. No, it was Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is anymore, dude. I mean, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, so Wednesday was pretty rough, you know, seeing all that happen and just the response to it, the sickening response. And then there was some very heartfelt ones. So again, that family's in my thoughts. Can't imagine what you're going through, but you got all the support here. Okay, so that was the 10th. The 11th was not only 9/11. For those of you that don't know, not really a big thing, but like when I was younger, I used to be a volunteer firefighter. Can you believe that? Pipsqueak me. I was a firefighter. So that day is always, you know, something that we do think about, the 343 firefighters that died that day. The mark that whole day in general has left on everybody's life, even this far into the future from that day. I do still remember that day, actually. I was in 2001. I was in 1st grade. And I remember they shut the school down. And my mom was at work. My dad wasn't in the picture. My mom was at work. So we had to sit in this school and wait for our parents to come and pick us up. They stopped class and everything. And my mom, she was a very hardworking lady. God bless her. She couldn't come get me right away. And I sat in the school until like 5:30. School's usually, the bus could have taken me home sooner, but they probably didn't. They didn't know what was going on, right? And I remember sitting in 1st grade class. They gave us dinner, and it was spaghetti and meatballs. I remember that. And back when I was in 1st grade, there used to be these things where it's like a strip of paper. It's like a card. It's like a card thing that you would sit inside this audio player, and as it would read the story, it would like go through the machine, and it would read the story through the headphones. And you know those headphones, they were like huge, like fighter pilot headphones. I don't quite remember what story I was listening to, but I do remember very, very distinctly putting that card into the machine, pressing play, watching it go, and I had my spaghetti dinner. And then just my mom coming to get me. That's pretty much all I remember from that day. But I do remember very, very clearly that whole thing. So that was Thursday. Also Thursday, as I had mentioned, one of my most favorite doctors in the entire world. He was like my grandfather that I would marry. I still will marry him to this day. So maybe not so much like my grandfather, but definitely a mentor. It was his my last day working with him. And I'd post pictures, but I don't want people like looking it up and trying to figure out who's who and whatnot. I don't want to do any of that, but it was my last day of working with him. And then there was a retirement party that we went to. Greatest doctor I've ever worked with. I've only been in the business 5 years, you know, but I started my career working with him all the way back in 2020, COVID. It feels like such a long time ago, you know, but it really hasn't been that long. But I remember I graduated college in 2020, and since it was COVID, nobody would hire me, you know. And I finally got a call from this place, the surgery center, for an interview, and I went in, and I met everybody, and like I said, started my career with him, ended his career with me. he wasn't like, he was like the type of doctor that was like really old school, you know, laid all the way the fuck back. You know, we used to call him the head of HR. He wasn't the head of HR. He would definitely make some jokes that aren't appropriate at all. But he loved me. I love him to death. I used to edit videos. We used to do surgical videos. I would do surgical videos. I would film them and edit them for him. And once a week, I would go up to his office. We'd do a voiceover. And then we would just sit in his office and talk about life and what's going on, how crazy my life is. He always loved the stories that I tell about my life because it's been pretty fucking crazy. Especially to a doctor who's done nothing but, you know, be a goody two-shoes for most of his life, you know. Minus the time he had an affair with Sharon Stone. But I'm not kidding. I would say I'm a pretty guarded person when it comes to my life. Like I said, this YouTube thing is like a new thing that I'm trying because I talk to myself already when it comes to my problems, so why not have other people hear me talk about my problems to myself. I'm not one to talk too much about myself in person, if you ever see me in real life. And I've never been one to really talk to others about the stuff that goes on in my life. But every time he would ask me, it would be right in the middle of the OR, right around everybody. And he would ask me about my life, and I didn't want to not say anything, you know. I felt like I can't not tell him stuff. And I would tell him, and everybody else in the OR, and he would tell me what I need to do, what I should have done, what could be done now. And it was almost like what I do already when I talk to myself about my problems, going through the steps of everything that happened, but actually, you know, telling somebody in lieu, it was everybody in the OR. People in the OR probably know some stuff about me that even God doesn't know, okay? But every time he would ask me, I felt like I couldn't lie. I couldn't not tell him, you know. And he almost made it seem like comfortable, you know, for me to tell him the things in my life that even my family doesn't know, you know. I just felt so comfortable talking with him. So yeah, his the workplace is definitely not going to be the same without him. It's going to be no more funny stories about his life and our life. But, you know, it's going to happen to everybody, you know. No matter what job you're at, you're always going to have that one older person than you that's going to retire. And it's almost going to feel like, well, this is their first funeral, you know. They're not dead. You know they're not dead. But it's almost like the death of that daily relationship that you guys have. Because, I don't know, once people kind of start to retire, and you're young like me, and you've built these relationships with people that are older than you, it kind of is like the death of the relationship, that daily relationship. You know, you're not going to see them every day, and they were like your best friend, your best work friend. Sure, you could text and whatnot, but it's almost like it's getting you ready for that next funeral, their actual funeral. And it's probably morbid to say it like that, but it's like the pre-game to the actual funeral. Because, you know, retirement parties are like, you're drinking, having a good time, there's tons of people around, you know, It's like the living funeral. I'm probably the only one that thinks that, you know. But sometimes it's like the last time that you're gonna see each other and talk to each other before that happens, before their actual funeral, you know. But me and Doctor, we're still best friends. I'm gonna text him every week. We're already making plans to go out on a date. It's not a date like that, but it's the kind of humor that, you know, we have. So yeah, that was all on the 11th. What day are we on now? I don't even know. The 12th. So the 12th, Friday, is a way to end off my week of shit. 12th is my brother's birthday. My brother that I've talked about on this channel. He turned, I don't even know how old, 35? I'm gonna say he's 7 years older than me, so I think 35. I don't even know how old I am half the time. I gotta ask people how the fuck old I am. That's how monotonous life has gotten. But I was at work, so we didn't really do too much. Birthdays are stupid anyway in my eyes. I feel like there's no need past birthday number 1 to keep celebrating every year. But so that was a good thing, you know. But then as I'm at work, my mom, she texted me and she said that my uncle had just died. She didn't say it like that, but what she texted me was that and that they were in the hospital. So I'm like, okay, well, he's in the hospital, you know, how bad could it really be? And then she got a hold of some people and then texted me. I called her actually because I was at work and I didn't know what was going on, and she just texted me all this stuff, and she said that he had passed. So, and I don't think I want to get into like all the stuff that happened with that situation, but you know, it was sudden. Nobody was expecting it. I mean, we kind of were, you know. He didn't live the healthiest of lives. Neither do I, though, so I'm not one to say nothing. It is what it is, right? But we just weren't expecting it at this point, you know. The week had already been shitty enough in not only the world, but our lives. And it was kind of just like the icing on the cake, you know. Why not? Why not one more thing? Lord, why not? But so we gotta figure out all the stuff for that. Planning funerals is never easy nor fun, but he will be an organ donor, thankfully. So I was telling his kid, he has a daughter, that at least there's some good in the situation. He's gonna be helping other people. Now, some of the body parts are actual surgeries that I've done, you know, transplants. And it's just so good to know that, like, even when some people have passed, that they're still gonna be able to help other people live their lives to their fullest potential. And that's kind of just the way that I look at things, you know. I always get weird when it comes to funerals, you know, like, I don't know, I just don't like them very much. I've been thinking this whole week, like, all this death usually comes in threes, so I guess this is the third, even though the girl on the train happened like last month, I think, but still, I've just found out about it, so it's like it happened this week to me, you know. But it's just like, you start to think, once all these people around you kind of start dropping, you kind of like wrestle with your own mortality. And it's like, when's the next person gonna die? Like, who's the next person that's gonna die? When am I gonna die? How's it gonna go? You know, what's gonna happen? And you kind of have all these, like, this thought storm, you know, ripping through your mind. And it's like, just think just to think, like, out of all the people, how, like, completely insignificant and short we're all here, you know? It kind of, I don't want to say it bothers me, you know? Like, I work in a hospital, you know? I'm around that all the time, death. But, I don't know, when you see it, I don't want to say I got desensitized, but at the same time, it's just like, when it's people around you, somebody close to you, it makes you like, how do I want to say this, you know? I don't know how I want to say it. I can't think of the way to say it when I want to say it, you know? But it's like, you start thinking about your own life, and people even closer to you, like your parents, and it's like, you just wonder when it's gonna happen, you know? You know eventually it's gonna happen. Eventually death comes for us all, you know? It's the only absolute in life is death. But, I don't know. I just have felt like this whole week that something's wrong, you know? Like, after Charlie got shot and we found out he was dead, I felt a little weird, you know? And then my family member died. It's like, something in the world just feels different, you know? Like, Wednesday, everything was fine, you know? Life felt normal. I didn't feel like this off feeling, you know? And then by today, I'm like, even the air feels different. It's hard to explain, like, how and why, how it feels different. I just feel like something's not quite the same as it was 3 days ago, you know? And I just can't put my finger on, like, why, you know? But past couple days have definitely been feeling off. I don't know how to, I'm stuttering. I don't know how to say it or how to explain it. It's not that, like, I feel like a piece of me is missing. No, it's not that. It's like everything around me seems like something is misplaced. Like, I set it down there yesterday, and I know I set it down there yesterday, and now it's today, and it's not there. I could have sworn it was there, but it's not. It's kind of like how it feels. It's probably like a really weird way to say how it feels, but I just can't explain it. I don't know if everybody else is feeling the same way, or if life is feeling that way for everybody else, but I don't know. I'm hoping after this month, I'm gonna give this month the time it needs to be shitty, alright? But after that, if it's still going to hell in a handbasket, it still feels like something's not right, I'm gonna definitely be thinking about it a whole bunch, because I don't know. That's how my week's been going. Hopefully, it hasn't been going that way for you guys. Again, it's not just bad in our lives right now, it's bad in the whole world. You know, everybody's feeling some type of way about something. I hope everybody else is doing okay out there. I hope everybody's staying safe. Let me know if you feel like something is wrong. Not wrong, I shouldn't say it like that. But let me know if you feel like something's off in life right now. Not just your life. Just, I want you to take a look, stop for a second, stop your life for a second, alright? This is what I do every single day. I stop for a second, and I just take a look at everything around. I watch the people around me. I look at the sky, I look at nature, and I want you to do this. Just look at it, you know, shut your mouth, put the phone down, look at it, and let me know if something feels off. Because I think it does. Maybe I'm crazy. I definitely could be. Who knows? At this point, who fucking knows, right? Anyways. Sorry it's been so long since I filmed a video. I filmed one last week. I just haven't been able to do anything with it. And it was a shitty video anyways, because I didn't know what to talk about, you know. Nothing was really going on in my life last week, thankfully. I guess a moment of peace. The calm before the storm is what was last week. But to everybody out there who's having a hard time, listen, we're gonna give it till the end of this month, all right? If you're having a hard time like me, give it till the end of the month, all right? Then come back to me and we'll talk about how the month of September went and what we're gonna do for October, all right? Because we're gonna make October better, goddammit, all right? Together. Anybody out there that is struggling with the weight of the world, how everything's going, listen, it's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything is always fine in the end. Okay? Don't do anything drastic. It's not worth it. We gotta stick together, right? We gotta keep coming back to the comment section and talking. Alright? When I don't see people in the comment sections that I've seen since the beginning of this channel, I get a little worried. I'm not gonna lie. You know? We'll be okay. We'll be alright. Everything's gonna be good. I'll give this month, like I said, we're gonna give it this month. We're gonna give the shitstorm this month, right? And then next month, we're gonna fucking kill it. Everything's gonna be good next month. I promise. I probably shouldn't promise that, but we're gonna fucking try to make next month fucking glorious, alright? Again, I really hope everybody's doing okay out there. We're in this together, you know? If you're having a rough, shitty week like me, go watch my other videos. I'm sure you're bound to find one that relates to how you're feeling, you know? I try to be relatable. Without human decency and relatability, we start fucking going a little fucking crazy, alright? So, go watch my other videos if you're feeling down. Because I promise you I felt the same way. And if you've been feeling this way this month, follow me. And I'm sure the next month, and the month after that, and the years down the road, me and you are going to become best friends through my videos. Because we're going to be feeling the same way a lot, right? Oh, God. What a fucking month, man. It's just started. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to hold hands and fucking walk into that light. Anyways, for those of you that have been emailing me, I'll drop my email down in the comments. Feel free to email me. I will respond eventually. Sorry to those people that emailed me forever fucking ago. I answered once, and then I never answered again. I'm going to get to it right after this video. I promise you. You wake up, you'll see my email. Also, if you're not an email person, and you're an X/Twitter person, you can also follow me and message me on Twitter. And just like the email people, I will get to you, I promise, eventually. Alright? I have a rough life. I'm just kidding. But no, I do have a rough job, right? And I'm very busy. And I promise you, I will get to you. Don't lose hope. Really, like, waiting on that message from me. Relax. I'll get to it. Right? Again, listen, everybody, we made it another week. I know it's rough, but we just gotta put the days behind us and keep fucking trucking forward, alright? Thank you guys so much for all your love, support, and I hope you guys can do the same to other people, not just me. If you see somebody in the comments that you can relate to, comment, tell them. I'm not saying we gotta love each other. Lord knows we don't gotta love each other, okay? I'm not a big proponent on love anymore, but we do have to be civil, you know? Show some sympathy, empathy, and just start relating to each other. you know? Too much bad shit going on. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Honestly, I didn't think that this channel would get any views, let alone as many as it has gotten. And the people, I love seeing you all every single time I upload. Oh, I want to show you my teeth. I got diamonds in my teeth. So if you're like, what the fuck is that in her mouth that keeps fucking catching the light and shining? It's diamonds, bitch. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Seriously, thank you for all the support. Please give each other support if you see somebody needs it. And yeah, I'll see you guys when I see you again. Bye.